outkick.com/jobs right now. We have 3 different jobs that are posted. We are exploding in size. We have got the ability to hire 3 new people. So if you go to outkick.com/jobs and you have tech capabilities, we are hiring for those positions. I am not deciding them. All right. So your email to me is in no way going to help. In fact, I will not read it. If you are arguing that you need to be hired, I get deluged with mail. I can't pay attention to all of it. That's why you have a company, so that we have people who can decide who the best hires are. All right. So, but I just want to let you know, I get asked all the time, outkick.com/jobs. How can you help Outkick grow if you have other jobs and you're watching this and you're just saying to yourself, thank God, Clay Travis. Thank God, Jason Whitlock. I just want somebody to be honest in sports media and not be full of crap these days. You can go sign up right now for the Outkick VIP, which hundreds of you are doing every single day. We are blowing up in a good way at outkick.com with the VIP. Initially, our goal was 10,000 people. CEO of Outkick, Sam Savage, he came in and he said, I think we can get 100,000 subscribers. Frankly, I think he's crazy. I was ecstatic with the idea that we might get 10,000. And so I would be thrilled if we ever get anything over 10,000. But that is pretty incredible to be able to sign up 10,000 VIPs, $99 a year. You get VIP access on the message board. You get the right to comment. You get a VIP phone line to call the radio show, VIP message board, and Jason Whitlock and myself are doing Zooms for VIPs only, where you can come in, ask questions, and everybody is going to hang out there. So I encourage all of you to go check it out at outkick.com. Sign up for the VIP. Put your applications in for everyone out there who is interested right now in potentially getting a job at Outkick. So I appreciate you all being involved, and thanks for helping us grow at, frankly, an exponential rate. Hate to upset the coronabros out there, but one of the things that's growing exponentially right now is Outkick, not the coronavirus. I know we heard so much about exponential growth and how everybody was going to die from the coronabros, and then they sort of vanished. And exponential growth really never happened anywhere other than New York, where they had the worst governor and mayor, maybe in the history of electoral politics, certainly in the history of electoral politics in the 21st century. So there's a lot to get to, but I'll hit you with this right off the top. We had a little bit of an increase, a small blip in week 11 after 10 straight declines. Now the numbers are coming back down again in week 12. Yesterday, there were 327 people nationwide who died with the coronavirus. I say with the coronavirus because there's a difference between dying with the coronavirus and dying of the coronavirus. If you die of stage 4 lung cancer and you have the coronavirus, you go down as a coronavirus death. And therefore you died with it, not because of the coronavirus. We also had 720,700 tests run. 8% of them were positive. It appears that things may well have peaked in Florida, in Arizona, and in Texas based on the numbers that we are seeing right now. So, put that context into play here. Every day in the United States, 7,500 people die. 2.8 million around the nation every year. So, yesterday, 7,200 people died of something other than the coronavirus and got almost no attention at all. The idea that schools are shutting down is flagrantly, insanely dumb, and anyone who is arguing for it is also dumb. I also want to say this, okay? You see a lot of people on social media spreading a falsehood. That falsehood is that antibodies, you don't get immunity if you get the coronavirus, okay? You see a lot of people talking about, I got the coronavirus 2 times. I got the coronavirus 3 times. I got the coronavirus 46 times, right? That's all getting shared on social media crazily. All right, I want you to listen to me carefully here. If that were true, which it is not, all right? If that were true, then no vaccine would work. The vaccine is predicated on giving you antibodies to the coronavirus. So if you are one of those people who's running around with your hair on fire, screaming about how you can get the coronavirus multiple times, then your waiting for the vaccine is a broken logical thought, okay? Because the vaccine wouldn't work if you can keep getting the coronavirus even after you have been exposed to it. So I don't know why people don't take the next step and call out these idiots and then say, okay, well, what is your plan then? Because if you don't believe that you get immunity and via antibodies, then your only recourse is to never leave your house again because there's no vaccine coming to save you. Okay? So this is lunacy, right? But you have to follow sometimes these people down the broken trail where there's no logic at the end of their opinions, and that is where we are right now. Okay? So coronavirus numbers looking better so far this week. I'll let you know what happens tomorrow on Tuesday. Talking about facts, facts, facts. All right, I got to hit you with this. The coronabros in sports media, with Darren Rovell leading the charge, they are now focused on college football almost exclusively. They are now focused almost exclusively on college football because the following sports are either already started or will be started by August. All right, are you ready? Major League Baseball, the NFL, MLS, NHL, NBA, UFC, boxing, NASCAR, the WNBA, the NWSL, the Professional Bowling Association. All of them are going, and they have new events in the world of sports occurring right now, or they will be going by August the 1st. All of them are playing, okay? Let me just repeat all of these leagues again. Major League Baseball, the NFL, MLS, NHL, NBA, UFC, boxing, NASCAR, WNBA, NWSL, PBA. All right? Indy 500 is coming as well. All right? All of them are taking place. The PGA. Did I leave out the PGA? All right. I think I did leave out the PGA. Sorry. Apologies. The Memorial's going on this weekend. All of them are going on. Question for everybody out there. How can all of these leagues be playing, but college football can't be playing? Tomorrow, there are going to be 30,000 fans, up to 30,000 fans present at the NASCAR race in Tennessee at Bristol. And you are telling me that without fans present, we can't play college football? This is lunacy of the highest order and magnitude. The fact that nobody is calling out, wait a minute, why is college football being held to a different standard than all of those other sports that I just ran through that will be playing? This is about the Corona Bro media, sports media in particular, that has realized they have lost all of these other sports. Major League Baseball, NFL, MLS, NHL, NBA, UFC, boxing, NASCAR, WNBA, NWSL, PBA, PGA. All of them are either playing or they will be playing. The WNBA is playing. The WNBA has like 5 fans in all of America, and they have come back to play. And you're telling me that the second most popular sport in America, college football, which is number 2 behind the NFL, can't play? All of these other sports have figured out how to do it. The risk to college athletes is lower than the risk of them driving to campus. They are more likely to be struck by lightning than they are to actually be injured. And again, I want to bring this up because it's so significant. Even the Corona Bros don't have a strong argument when you ask them, why are college football players under greater danger on a college campus than they would be at their apartments, their condos, their homes, with their parents. They have access every day to testing and medical professionals. They could just as easily, if something bad happened, and it's far more likely that they would be sick off campus. Again, you cannot eliminate all risk from life. That is a futile standard. I almost tripped going down the stairs the other morning of my home office. I went to the bathroom. I was trying to pull up my pants, and I got a mishap there. I got caught on the fly. Thankfully, my foot, not my penis. And I almost went tumbling down the stairs, and I thought to myself, I might almost have just died trying to put on my pants too close to the staircase. I almost killed myself putting on my pants too close to the staircase when I stumbled. All right? This is a reality. People die in dumb ways all the time, and people die in unlikely ways all the time. You can't eliminate all risk, but it is important to assess risk when it comes to your behavior. If you are a college athlete, you're more likely to die of the flu. And last year, if I had told you, hey, we need to stop playing college football because there are too many people getting sick from the flu, you all would have laughed me out of this show. Yet there are more people every year who are college age who die of the flu, and we don't cancel anything, and now we're somehow doing it for the coronavirus. It almost makes no sense at all. It does make no sense at all. All right, the NBA. We got a small victory. Got a small victory out there in the Twitter streets. The NBA will now allow you to buy NBA jerseys with hashtag Free Hong Kong on them. Unfortunately, the NBA will not allow actual players to wear them because if they did, they would have to bow and they would have to defy their otherwise obsequious bowing to the Chinese overlords in Beijing, who are the modern-day Nazis. The NBA wants to talk like they're on the right side of history all the time, and they are effectively taking blood money from Nazis. Concentration camps, book bans, taking over land, new land already. The ability to take over the South China Sea, potentially to take over Taiwan as well. The NBA, the woke social justice warrior league that claims that it cares about something other than sports, is effectively on the side of modern day Nazis. This is where we are in America today. But at least a small benefit, Free Hong Kong on the jerseys. I encourage you to listen to yesterday's program when I went off on the NBA over their failures there. Derrick Henry, not going to get a new contract, going to make $10.7 million this year for the Titans, and then theoretically would be a free agent again next year. We're looking at potentially a Le'Veon Bell situation, however, because it seems to me that there is a decent chance that the Titans could not pay and sign Derrick Henry to a long-term extension this year, and then next year they could also come back and franchise tag him again. I don't blame the Titans for this because even though Derrick Henry has been phenomenal, you don't want to overpay a running back. $10.7 million for 1 year seems steep, but at least you make Derrick Henry prove he can do it again. Seems like a decent dollar figure there. Dak Prescott, also tomorrow is the deadline for franchise cap taggings, and so it appears that Dak and the Cowboys are not actually going to reach a settlement here, sign a new longer-term deal, and so Dak will play under the salary cap structure of the franchise tag this year. That seems like a little bit of a messy situation for the Cowboys going forward. It also further solidifies the fact that the Cowboys are not willing to overpay, even for a quarterback who's been drastically underpaid for the last 4 years. This is one of those stats that it's crazy. Do you guys know what Dak Prescott has made on the field in the first 4 years of his tenure as a Dallas Cowboy quarterback? $2.7 million total. That's right at, what, $700,000 a year for the last 4 years to play quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys. So Dak is saying, not only do you have to pay me for what I'm worth now, you have to pay me for what I was worth over all those years where you didn't pay me before, $2.7 million over the last 4 years. And so one of the reasons that he's asking for so much money is he's saying, look, I played out my rookie contract. I did everything that you could possibly ask of a quarterback. I made only $700,000 a year on average, a little bit less. And starting quarterbacks in the NFL are making $30 million easy. So you should be paying me not only for the years ahead, but for what I was worth over the 4 years that I was a starting quarterback. And he has been a stellar off the field, I believe, leader for the Dallas Cowboys. Never said a bad word, as somebody just said in the comments about the Cowboys. Didn't hold out like Zeke Elliott. I wouldn't blame him at all if he held out after this year or if he insisted that he should be an unrestricted free agent. I also wouldn't want to give him that if I were the Dallas Cowboys. So this will be a story that's worth following. I'm sure we're going to talk about it tomorrow morning on the radio show. The New York Times, did you guys see this yesterday? Did a big article. Was it today? I can't even remember. I think it was yesterday. The New York Times did a big article on racism at ESPN. And you guys know that I'm critical of ESPN a lot. The entire article was nothing there. There was no actual racism that was uncovered by ESPN. But ESPN was so panicked about this New York Times article that they decided to sign Colin Kaepernick to a documentary in an effort to try to prove to everybody that they were still woke. I'm telling you right now, they were running scared. This explains the decision to sign Colin Kaepernick. This entire article had no basis, no substance, no legitimacy to it at all. There was nothing there. It was, in the words of political operatives everywhere, a nothing burger. Nothing was uncovered that ESPN had done wrong. So I wish ESPN had stood their ground and not decided to pay blood money to Colin Kaepernick to try to prove that they weren't racist, because there was no evidence that they had done anything wrong at all there. You can go read Jason Whitlock writing about that as well. Bari Weiss, I think is how you pronounce her name. I would encourage all of you to go read this article. She was a columnist for the New York Times opinion page that was hired to write things that are outside of the far left-wing agenda at the New York Times. She resigned with a blistering farewell letter that was incredible. It talked about the degree to which the New York Times has become what it claims to hate. It claims that Donald Trump is intolerant. The New York Times is more intolerant than Donald Trump is. They believe there is one opinion that is allowed to have. They don't cover the actual news anymore. They cover everything with an agenda perspective. And I say this as someone who subscribes to the New York Times. If Donald Trump says something they decide it is wrong, it doesn't matter whether there might be any truth to it. And I wrote this in my anonymous mailbag this morning. I think it would be an amazing story. I wish we could go back in time and test it. Let me ask you this. Pretend that instead of talking about how hydroxychloroquine, right, which it appears that Donald Trump may very well be right about it making the people a lot safer, let's go back in time and pretend that Donald Trump told everybody to start wearing masks back in March, even before the CDC recommended it. Remember, initially Dr. Fauci and the CDC and the Surgeon General and everybody else, they said masks won't protect you. Please don't go buy them. Please don't go wear them. That's what they told us all in March, okay? Now they have flipped and they're saying you need to wear masks. What I would love to see is if Donald Trump back in March had turned into a huge mask guy, if he had been saying, based on what I see, I think a mask is incredibly important to wear. I think everybody needs to wear a mask at all times. And if he had been the first politician to actually start wearing masks, would all liberals have rejected the wearing of masks? And would they have said, we refuse to wear a mask, we're not covering up our face for that dictator Donald Trump? I think that's what would have happened, because whatever Donald Trump says, the opposition just does the opposite. It doesn't matter. Okay? Now, it's also fascinating to me that finally people are coming out and saying, you know what? Maybe a decent amount of this spike is potentially connected to all the protests. And I don't really get into all the protests and everything else, but what I found fascinating from the get-go was when people started to protest the lockdown, all of the epidemiologists and the scientists came out and they said, this is unacceptable. All you want to do is get people killed. There's no way on the planet at all that any kind of protest should be allowed. Remember that? Everybody came out and everybody said, hey, this is crazy. I can't believe anybody's protesting the lockdown. As soon as protesters started for Black Lives Matter, all of the same epidemiologists and scientific experts who had told us that the lockdown protests were unacceptable, they came out and they said the exact opposite. They said, well, this protest is so much more important that it doesn't matter about the risk to spread the virus. Which is why I have said, following that logic, and obviously I am making this a joke, why couldn't we go to football games this fall and say we weren't attending football games, we were just protesting the opposing team? It's lunacy, right? You used to be able to say, at least science is not in any way partisan. Now even science has become wildly partisan because the precedents and rules of scientists are adjusted on the fly. Go read about this some in the anonymous mailbag. I think you guys will actually enjoy it. It used to be scientists and doctors and mathematicians. They would all look around at people like me, lawyers, who were able to argue any different side of a case based on who pays us. And they would say, boy, I don't know how in the world you do that for a living. There's no truth to what you are arguing. Now you can say the same thing about scientists and doctors and epidemiologists, which is frankly a lot scarier than it is people like me being able to argue as a lawyer for whichever side we choose. Finally, this is not getting as much attention as it should, but I want to hammer it home to finish off the show. The murder rate is skyrocketing in cities where there were the most aggressive and active protests in the country. New York, Minnesota, Atlanta, Minneapolis, I should say, instead of Minnesota. The murder rate is skyrocketing in those locations. The rate of shootings, Chicago as well, is skyrocketing in those locations. Do you know why the murder rate is skyrocketing and the shooting rate is skyrocketing? Because they defunded the police. This was so evident what exactly was going to happen. When you take away money from police and when you take police off the streets, the shooting rate and the murder rate goes up immediately. This is not complicated. This is not difficult. This is insanely easy to track down and know exactly what is going on here. And the people who out there are dealing with this the most are who? Black. The murder rate among black people skyrockets as soon as you take less police off the streets. You want to protest and say Black Lives Matter, and then you take away police, which means that Black Lives Matter protests are going to lead to more black deaths. The data was clear. Everyone who has a functional brain knew this was going to happen. Police save lives. The mainstream media focuses on the errors that police make. Nobody's perfect. When police make errors and behave in a criminal fashion, they should be prosecuted. But I want you to think about what the mainstream media told us during these protests. Even as we watched riots take place, the media said most protesters are peaceful. Yet the media also said all police are bad. You can't judge an entire group of people based on the actions of a handful. You have to look at actual data. And the data were clear. This is why I don't think Joe Biden should be being criticized for supporting the Bill Clinton 1990s agenda, which put more police on the streets. More police on the streets save lives. Black, white, Asian, Hispanic, all of them. Police save lives. When we only focus on their misbehavior, we miss all of the lives that they save. And right now, you are seeing what is happening with fewer police on the streets. The bad guys win, and minorities, particularly black people, bear the brunt of the pain of a rise in shootings and murders. Real data that matters. It's frustrating. It's frustrating to live in a world right now where it doesn't appear that facts matter if they hurt people's feelings or if the facts don't serve to underscore legitimizing fear. Here's what happens. Here's what matters. The facts, the facts, the facts. Our show is skyrocketing and our site is skyrocketing because of that. The real facts, period. Corona bros don't like when facts are shared. DBAP unless you need to SBAP. My name is Clay Travis. This has been Outkick the Show. Kisses. Share this show. Go subscribe on iTunes and on Stitcher and on, where's the other? Spotify. This podcast is everywhere. I encourage you to go check it out, and you won't be glad. You will be glad that you did. You won't regret it. I love all of you. DBAP unless you need to SBAP. I'll see you guys. Bye. Love you. Thank you, Facebook. Appreciate all of you. See ya.